In the heart of Boston, on a day that was meant to celebrate human endurance and spirit, the city's streets were marred by an act of terror that shook the world. Today, we revisit the tragedy of the Boston Marathon bombing, a day etched in the memory of time, not just for the horror it unleashed but for the stories of courage and unity that emerged from the chaos. As we delve back into April 15, 2013, we remember the 3 innocent lives lost, the hundreds injured, and the indomitable spirit of Boston that stood resilient in the face of such unspeakable acts. The ripples of that day are still felt, as the Supreme Court recently reinstated the death sentence for Djakarta Sarnaev, reigniting a debate that touches the very core of justice and morality in America. But beyond the headlines and legal battles, there are untold stories, updates that have slipped through the cracks, and theories that challenge the official narrative. In this deep dive, we're not just looking back, we're looking closer, seeking answers to questions that linger and honoring the resilience that defines Boston. So, join me as we unravel the layers of this complex saga, from the heart-wrenching testimonies to the latest legal twists. And if you're as passionate about seeking the truth and honoring the legacy of those affected, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay updated on our journey through the shadows of history. Your engagement means more than just numbers. It's a tribute to every life touched by this tragedy. Together, let's keep their stories alive. Stay with me as we step back into the past to understand our present. In a significant legal reversal, the Supreme Court has reinstated the death sentence for Djakarta Sarnaev, one of the perpetrators of the Boston Marathon bombing. This decision, delivered on March 4, 2022, overturns a lower court's ruling that had previously vacated the death sentence on the grounds of potential jury bias and errors in the trial phase. The Supreme Court's ruling was a 6-3 decision, with Justice Clarence Thomas writing the opinion. The court's decision hinged on the belief that the jury's sentencing was fair and that the judge overseeing the original trial did not err by excluding evidence related to Tamerlan Sarnaev's involvement in separate crimes. This evidence was initially claimed to show Tamerlan's influence over Djakarta, potentially painting a picture of Djakarta as being under his brother's sway. The reinstatement of the death penalty has reignited a complex debate across the nation, touching on issues of justice, retribution, and the effectiveness of the death penalty as a deterrent. Proponents of the decision argue that the heinous nature of the crime justifies the ultimate punishment, while opponents raise concerns about the morality of the death penalty and the possibility of reform and redemption. The implications of this decision are profound, not only for Sarnaev but also for the broader conversation about capital punishment in the United States. It brings into sharp focus the balance between the desire for justice and the pursuit of humane treatment within the legal system, even for those guilty of committing atrocious acts. This update to the Boston Marathon bombing case adds another layer to the ongoing narrative of one of the most infamous acts of terrorism on American soil. As the legal saga continues to unfold, the world watches and waits to see how justice will ultimately be served. The Sarnaev brothers, Tamerlan and Djakarta, became infamously known worldwide following the Boston Marathon bombing. Their actions on April 15, 2013, led to the death of 3 people and left hundreds injured, causing a wound in the heart of Boston that has been difficult to heal. Tamerlan, the older of the two, was 26 at the time of the bombings. He was killed in a shootout with police days after the attack. Djakarta, who was 19, was captured and has since been the subject of intense scrutiny by both the public and the authorities. Recent insights and theories have continued to emerge about their motives. Some have pointed to the influence of extremist ideologies, while others have considered the possibility of personal grievances against the United States, where they had lived for several years. The complexity of their motives is perhaps a reflection of their own personal histories, marked by displacement and the challenges of assimilation. Djakarta, particularly, has been described as a likable and low-key individual by those who knew him before the bombings. His transformation from a seemingly integrated teenager into a convicted terrorist has been a subject of much analysis. The question of Tamerlan's influence over his younger brother has also been a focal point, with some suggesting that Djakarta was swayed by Tamerlan's more dominant personality and radical views. Theories have also examined the brothers' background, including their Chechen heritage and the history of conflict in their homeland. However, the extent to which these factors played into their decision to carry out the bombing remains a subject of debate. As the years have passed, the narrative around the Sarnaev brothers has continued to evolve, with new reports and books contributing to the ongoing discussion about their lives, beliefs, and the tragic path they took. The search for understanding continues, as does the quest for peace and closure for the victims and the city of Boston. The manhunt for the Sarnaev brothers in the aftermath of the Boston Marathon bombing was a tense and unprecedented operation that locked down a major American city and drew the attention of the world. As we look back, new details and perspectives have emerged, shedding light on the complexities and challenges faced by law enforcement during those critical days. The operation began in earnest on the evening of April 18, 2013, when the FBI released photos and videos of the two suspects. This pivotal moment set off a chain of events that would lead to a violent confrontation in Watertown and the eventual capture of Djokar Tsarni. In the years since, officers involved in the manhunt have reflected on the intensity and the pressure of the situation. The regional SWAT team, Metro Star, which played a crucial role in the operation, has shared insights into their deployment. They guarded hotels, hospitals, and fielded numerous reports of suspicious packages, all while the suspects remained at large. A recent comparison was drawn between the manhunt for the Tsarnaev brothers and a similar operation in Maine, highlighting the lasting impact of the Boston manhunt on law enforcement tactics and public consciousness. The Boston Globe via Getty Images provided a visual narrative of the manhunt, capturing the scale and urgency of the response. Furthermore, a documentary titled American Manhunt: The Boston Marathon Bombing has revisited the events, possibly offering new shocking moments and insights into the operation. This documentary, along with other retrospectives, has contributed to a deeper understanding of the manhunt's impact on the community and the psychological toll it took on those involved. The manhunt's re-examination also brings to light the broader implications of such large-scale operations on civil liberty and the balance between public safety and individual rights. As we continue to dissect those fateful days, the lessons learned resonate in the policies and procedures that have since evolved, aiming to better prepare for and respond to such critical incidents in the future. A decade after the Boston Marathon bombing, the survivors and the families of victims continue to embody resilience and strength. Their journeys have been marked by recovery, advocacy, and in some cases, a return to the very race that changed their lives. Karen and Kevin McWaters, who were directly affected by the tragedy, have been profiled in a recent documentary series on Netflix titled American Manhunt: The Boston Marathon Bombing. Their story, like many others, is a testament to the enduring spirit of the Boston community. Mark Fucarile, another survivor, now 44, has faced a long road to recovery after the bombing. His experience and ongoing rehabilitation were highlighted in a piece by Biography, marking the 10th anniversary of the event. Despite the physical and emotional scars, Mark's determination remains unshaken. Rebecca Gregory, a survivor who has become a public figure in the wake of the bombing, expressed her dismay at the vacating of Djokar Tsarnaev's death penalty sentence. As reported by Boston 25 News, her definition of justice and her reaction to the legal twists in Tsarnaev's case reflect the complex feelings of many survivors. HuffPost has covered the broader survivor community, noting the surgeries, post-traumatic stress, and other challenges they have faced since that fateful day. The article reflects on the 5-year mark since the attack, acknowledging the long-term impact on those who were there. Lastly, NPR shared the inspiring story of Robert Wheeler, a 33-year-old survivor who continues to run, not letting the bombing halt his passion. His preparation for the marathon, years after the incident, is a powerful narrative of defiance and perseverance. These updates on the survivors' and victims' families provide a glimpse into their lives now, showing that while the bombing may have been a moment of darkness, the ensuing years have been filled with moments of light, courage, and an unwavering will to move forward. In the wake of the Boston Marathon bombing, the landscape of sports security underwent a significant transformation. The tragedy prompted a reevaluation of security protocols at major events, leading to enhanced measures designed to prevent similar attacks. Security Magazine reports that the incident changed the game of sports security, driving international sporting event security changes. The immediate aftermath saw an increase in visible security presence, the use of bomb-sniffing dogs, and the implementation of new crowd control techniques. Former Boston Police Commissioner Ed Davis spoke with WBUR about the changes in security since the bombing. He highlighted the psychological impact on victims and the broader community, emphasizing the need for a compassionate and comprehensive security approach that considers these aspects. ASIS International, a global community of security practitioners, detailed how the bombing affected event security training. Authorities put together a project management team to review the response and provide an after-action report, which has been instrumental in shaping current security practices. The Boston Herald, reflecting on the decade since the bombing, discussed how public safety has changed, noting that people have become more vigilant. Law enforcement leaders who were involved in the investigation shared their insights on the evolution of security measures. CBS News covered the lessons learned about security from the Boston Marathon bombing, pointing out that while security in Boston remains tight, especially during the marathon, there is a continuous effort to learn from past events and adapt security measures accordingly. These changes in security protocols since the bombing have been largely effective, as evidenced by the safe completion of subsequent Boston marathons and other large-scale events. However, the effectiveness of these measures is always under review, as security experts strive to stay ahead of potential threats while balancing the need for public freedom and enjoyment of events. The Boston Marathon bombing, like many significant events in history, has spawned a number of conspiracy theories and unanswered questions that continue to circulate in the public sphere and online communities. These theories range from the plausible to the outlandish, and they all seek to fill the gaps in the official narrative or challenge it entirely. One persistent theory suggests that the Family Guy episode, which aired a month before the bombing and depicted scenes of violence at the Boston Marathon, somehow predicted the event. This theory was widely disseminated by conspiracy theorist Alex Jones on Infowars.com, though it lacks any credible evidence. Another theory that has been floated around is the involvement of additional suspects beyond the Tsarnaev brothers. This stems from the chaotic nature of the manhunt and the initial reports of other persons of interest. Some conspiracy theorists have even suggested that the Tsarnaev brothers were framed or were part of a larger plot. The Guardian has rounded up several conspiracy theories, including one about a naked arrestee that emerged during the manhunt. This theory was based on a misinterpretation of police scanner traffic and has been debunked, but it continues to be cited by those who believe there was a cover-up. Heavy.com lists the top conspiracy theories about the bombing, including claims of it being a false flag operation designed to justify increased security measures or military actions. These theories often cite perceived inconsistencies in the official account or the rapid identification of the Tsarnaev brothers as suspects. Wired.com provides a guide to the various conspiracy theories that have arisen, including those that claim the use of fake blood and crisis actors at the scene. These theories are often based on a misunderstanding of emergency response protocols and the chaotic nature of the bombing aftermath. While these conspiracy theories provide an alternative view of the events, it's important to approach them with a critical eye. Many are based on misinterpretations, misinformation, or a desire to find meaning in tragedy. The unanswered questions they raise, however, reflect the ongoing public interest in the case and the desire for a complete understanding of such a complex and traumatic event. The media's coverage of the Boston Marathon bombing has evolved significantly over the years, reflecting on the broader changes in how media handles tragedies and the role of social media in news dissemination. NPR discusses how the bombings changed Twitter and media, highlighting the shift towards real-time updates and the challenges of ensuring accuracy in the rush to report. The coverage displayed the virtues of hyper-connected speed but also the perils of unconfirmed reports, as noted by the journalist's resource. The media's rapid response, the use of digital tools, and the reliance on social media platforms were a turning point in crisis journalism. The legal and political ramifications of the Boston Marathon bombing continue to unfold. The Washington Post examines how the tragedy changed everything in Boston politics, affecting local governance and community relations. NPR reports on the case reaching the Supreme Court, where arguments were heard regarding the reinstatement of the death sentence for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, highlighting the ongoing legal battles and their implications for the justice system. The Wiley Online Library discusses the impact of elite attributions of blame and how politicians and public administrators' statements affect citizens' beliefs about government responsibility. CFR's interview on domestic intelligence and the bombings provides insights into the lessons for future U.S. counterterrorism efforts, emphasizing the need for improved intelligence and security measures. Harvard's feature on lessons learned from the Boston Marathon bombing, 10 years out, reflects on the changes in emergency management and the importance of preparedness and resilience in the face of such tragedies. These discussions and actions taken as a result of the bombing, including legislation or policy changes, continue to shape the legal and political landscape in the United States. The city of Boston and its community have taken significant steps to memorialize the tragic events of the Boston Marathon bombing, ensuring that the memories of the victims and the resilience of the city are never forgotten. Runner's World reports that, 6 years after the bombings, memorials honoring the victims were installed on Boylston Street. These memorials are a somber reminder of the lives lost and the countless others affected by the tragedy. They serve not only as a tribute to the victims but also as a symbol of the strength and unity of the Boston community. Stantec, a design and development firm, has been involved in creating the Boston Marathon Memorial. Their work reflects the community's resilience and serves as a tribute to the collective spirit of the city in the aftermath of the bombing. The memorial is a place for reflection, remembrance, and a testament to the city's resolve to move forward while honoring the past. ESPN covers the 10th anniversary of the tragedy, noting how the families of those killed in the bombing marked the occasion. They walked together to the memorial sites near the finish line, laying tributes and reflecting on the impact of the event. This act of remembrance is a powerful statement of the ongoing grief and the enduring strength of the families and the community. WBUR also reflects on the 10th anniversary, providing a narrative of the day's events and the significance of the memorials. The finish line on Boylston Street, where the bombings occurred, has become a place of contemplation and tribute to the resilience of the city and its people. These memorials and tributes play a crucial role in the healing process for the city of Boston. They stand as a testament to the idea that while the city was shaken by the events of April 15, 2013, the spirit of Boston remains unbroken. The memorials ensure that the story of the bombing and its aftermath continues to be told, serving as a reminder of both the fragility of life and the strength of community. The debate surrounding the death penalty for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev continues to stir emotions and raise questions about justice and mercy. On one side, there are those who argue that the severity of Tsarnaev's actions, which caused death and suffering to many, warrants the ultimate punishment. They believe that the death penalty is a just response to acts of terrorism and serves as a deterrent for future atrocity. On the other side of the debate, voices calling for mercy and life imprisonment instead of execution are prominent. They argue that the death penalty is inhumane and that life in prison would be a more appropriate sentence. This perspective often raises concerns about the effectiveness of the death penalty as a deterrent and points to the moral and ethical implications of taking another life, even in response to such heinous acts. This debate is not just about Tsarnaev but also reflects broader discussions on the justice system's role in dealing with terrorism. It touches on the balance between punishment and rehabilitation and the values that the legal system aims to uphold. The Boston Marathon bombing remains a pivotal moment in American history, marking a tragic day of loss and heroism. Its legacy extends beyond the immediate aftermath, influencing national security policies, emergency response protocols, and community resilience strategies. The event has also contributed to the ongoing global discourse on terrorism and the measures taken to prevent such attacks. As we reflect on the bombing and its aftermath, it's essential to consider the lives altered and the strength demonstrated by the Boston community. The city's response, characterized by the rallying cry "Boston Strong," exemplifies the collective resolve to overcome adversity. The bombing's legacy is not only one of pain and loss but also of unity and the enduring human spirit. As we conclude this video, let's remember the victims and survivors of the Boston Marathon bombing and acknowledge the lasting impact this event has had on our society. It's a reminder of the importance of vigilance, compassion, and the ongoing pursuit of justice in the face of terror.